Mr. President, almost 1 year ago, on a calm Saturday morning in the small town of Oso, more than a square mile of mud rushed down a mountainside in my home state of Washington. In a matter of seconds, dozens of homes were destroyed, dozens of people were missing, and they were trapped in the debris from the mudslide. It was unclear at first the extent of the damage, the number of people trapped, and what could be done in the face of such devastation. First responders risked their own lives, braving dangerous conditions to look for survivors. Some were pulled from the rubble, but so many, too many, were lost. Houses over more than a square mile were simply swept away. The main highway to nearby Darrington was blocked, isolating that community. And 43 people, children, mothers, brothers, and aunts were killed. Mr. President, this was the deadliest mudslide in our country's history. A year later, there isn't a single person in Oso who hasn't been affected by this devastating natural disaster. In the blink of an eye, they saw water and earth wipe away their homes and their entire community. But Mr. President, let me tell you about what I saw when I visited the small nearby town of Arlington, where recovery plans were being made just days and moments after the mudslide occurred 1 year ago. I saw small towns like so many across the country in all of our states, the types of towns where everybody knows each other, the types of places where everyone stops to say hello and lend a helping hand. And Mr. President, what I saw that day last March was a community where there wasn't a single person who wasn't doing every single thing they could do to help. Amidst the terrible destruction, I saw hope. I spoke to firefighters who had not slept for days, refusing to stop searching for survivors. I saw neighbors and friends and volunteers providing food and shelter and hugs and prayers, anything to assist the community who had experienced the unthinkable. Mr. President, I want to tell just one story from the days following that awful moment, a story that has been told before but bears repeating. A local woman named Rhonda Cook heard about the slide, and she found out that her friend was driving by and buried when the slide hit. Rhonda spent days digging through that debris, looking for that blue car she knew was there somewhere, determined to bring her friend out of the mud. And when that car was finally uncovered and her friend's body was lifted out, Rhonda paused to pay her last respects, but then she kept on digging, looking for others. Mr. President, Rhonda is just one of the many local heroes. There were so many and so many more who continue working to this very day. So, Mr. President, last year I joined many others and pledged to stand with the people of Oso and Darrington in the months and years to come and to do whatever we could to help them on the road to recovery. I was proud to work with my colleagues in the Senate and with our friends in the House to make sure the federal government was offering a hand, because we are a nation that sticks together when times are tough. We worked to secure housing grants and FEMA funding and transportation investments to repair State Route 530. More than 600 National Guard soldiers were deployed to help in the emergency response. The main highway through Darrington reopened finally last summer. Homes are now being rebuilt. Lives are being pieced back together. Mr. President, while I am so grateful for all that has been done to aid the recovery, our work is far from done. Though the devastation will eventually be cleared, injuries will heal, the emotional scars will always remain. And the memories of those who were lost will never leave us. A disaster of this magnitude requires long-term assistance to help these communities respond, rebuild, and cope. Now, a year down the long road of recovery, there's one word that comes to mind when trying to explain what the people of Oso and Darrington are. At their core, resilient. Aid workers searched for remains to return to loved ones for as long as 4 months after that mudslide. A man who lost his wife and son gave thousands of dollars in donations to other victims who he thought needed the money more than him. The people of Oso and Darrington will look back on March 22nd, 2014 this weekend, remembering lost homes and lost loved ones and even pets. And Mr. President, I want those communities to know that all the way here across the country, in the other Washington, I stand with Oso. We stand with Oso. Their resiliency in the face of such unthinkable devastation is an inspiration to us all. we will always remember what it means to be oh so strong. And they have the thoughts and prayers of everyone in the country to continue rebuilding from Washington State to Washington, D.C., and everywhere in between. Thank you, Mr. President. And I yield the floor to my colleague, Senator Cantwell, who, as I was there time and time again with this community ever since it happened.